Hello people of the earth and welcome back to QuickSaveTV. My name is Mike and today I would like to present to you the Rogue Legacy, the fresh indie game from the something Cellar Games, of which I never heard before, but the game is motherfucking beautiful. There's no other way to describe it. It's absolutely gorgeous in every possible aspect, in aspect of mechanics, in aspect of graphics, and I would like to present it to you today in order to persuade you, of course, to support this indie development group, because I really would like to see more stuff from them, and because the game is amazing and you absolutely have to try it out. Now, I would like to note though, I've never beat the entire game, so it's not going to be a full review, right? And I'm severely deprived of sleep, so like, just bear with me, alright? It's gonna be fun, trust me, it's gonna be fun. Have I ever lied to you? Come on guys, it's gonna be alright. So let me go ahead and show you a little bit the settings, and why I want to show you the settings is, of course, I want to show you the controls, okay? It's kind of important, right? So we have the controls on the keyboard, and controls on the keyboard are a pain in the ass. And the reason they are a pain in the ass is, of course, because it's fucking impossible to enjoy a platformer masher, kind of, I don't know what you would call it, I guess like just a platformer. It's kind of difficult to enjoy a platformer on a keyboard, especially it starts feeling when you play for like several hours and onwards. Like, your hands are not gonna hurt if you play for an hour or two, but if you go like 3 hours and straight, like higher, when you're like, oh my god, it's so exciting, then your hands are like, oh my god, my wrists, they're hurting, just break them off and throw them in the fucking garbage. That's exactly how I feel right now, because in order to actually follow up with the pirouettes in this game, like for example dashing, right, you do it with Q and E, but at the same time you do jumping with S, so you can imagine how it's, you know, it's kind of bunched up, all of this, the special abilities at A, the attack is at T, and then I use primarily the arrow keys to move around, and it's just kind of bunched up together on the left hand, and my left hand hurts like a bitch, so like, I would completely advise to you, if you have a controller, it's gonna be damn fine experience for you, but like, if you're playing off of a keyboard, unless you're a seasoned gamer, you're probably going to encounter certain issues. So yeah, this is actually one of the games that actually not forces me, persuades me to buy a controller. Usually I'm like, ah, fuck it, I'm a PC gamer, I don't give a fuck about your fucking controller, but right now I actually feel like I want to buy a controller once again, and the only other game that actually did it to me was the, it was called MX vs ATV Unleashed, and it was back in the day when I was still in Russia, and god, was this game amazing. I loved it. I really wanted to have the controller for it, and you know, I just ended up buying it, and no other game could persuade me to do that. Not Prince of Persia, not any of them actually. I was like, ah, fuck it, I'm on the computer, I'm fine. I have my mouse and shit, it's fine. So let's go onwards to the game. What is this game actually? This game is a roguelike, which in essence allows you to do the following, right? So you start off with like a character, alright? Let's say there's many of them, I'm not gonna show you all of them, but you start with a character. And what's the idea? Your character is the father of a long, like he's a gigantic ass predecessor, let's put it this way, right? And he has a whole bunch of children, and you take control of one of his children. You always have to choose from 3. Like right now, we have 3 children to choose from. We have Sir Teddy, yeah, sure, Lady Priscilla, and Lady Henrietta, right? They also have the numbers next to them because they are descendants of the descendants of the descendants of the descendants. So don't ask me, I'm playing this game for forever. The original dude lived from like 700 years AD to 730, so it's already 2833, so you can imagine it's 2000 years passed since his time, so you can imagine what kind of mumbo jumbo is going on here, you know? It's like advanced Santa Barbara going on here in a video game of a roguelike game, so you can understand what I'm trying to say about that, right? So it's a lot of generations past, and what in essence it allows you to choose is each of these 3 fuckers has traits. Traits are positive and negative. They come in positive and negative ways. Sometimes you have a guy with exceptionally positive traits, and sometimes you have a guy with exceptionally negative traits, or just anything in between. Sometimes no traits, sometimes 2 traits, sometimes 3 traits. Actually, I think it's 2 max, but yeah, anyway, the point is, you select, sometimes you select something that you prefer more, and sometimes you select a lesser evil. And then you venture into the castle, and you're trying to accomplish more than you did the last time. So, this time I'm going to pick up, we have an assassin, an archmage, and a spelunket, right? So, as a spelunker, right? A female spelunker. So, what we have on the assassin is like, very fragile kind of damage dealer. If you're agile, if you're good with your fingers, right, you can actually... it's kind of naughty. Yeah, if you're good with your hands, right, if you can execute precise movements, you shouldn't be afraid of anything. You can actually move around quite a lot and just deal a lot of damage, get these critical strikes, dishing out a lot of damage and just destroying the targets before then it can actually destroy you. I'm atrocious at this kind of thing, so I'm gonna go with something heavier. There's also Archmaiden and Spelunket. Like, all of them are trash. So I'm just going to pick a lesser evil. So far, Teddy looks like a lesser evil. Then we have the Archmage. Archmage is really good with magic. I hate magic by nature, but I have to employ it. Excuse me, I have to employ it every little once in a while. Now, what Archmage can do, in essence, is he can select from a wide variety of spells. Like you can see here below the portrait of the dwarf, right, you see the axe. This is a spell, okay? So unlike other characters, Archmage and mages generally, they can circulate between like 4 spells or whatnot, which gives them a gigantic utility on the battlefield in comparison to other classes. Like with this guy, I'm only gonna have a chakram, and that's all I'm gonna have, chakram. And with this guy, I'm gonna have the axe, I'm gonna have like a stop time, I'm gonna have like throwing shit, like all kinds of stuff, throwing knives, etc, etc, etc. Excuse me, that's my microphone. Alright, so, and here we have the Spelunker. Spelunker is a horrible fighter, but gets a bonus gold whenever you are actually in the castle. So, as you can see, this was a random draw, right? I cannot influence it quite yet, right? But the point of what I'm saying is, you can select something that appeals to you a little bit more. Oh, you're like, oh, I'm a mage user, I'm gonna pick up the Archmage, you know, which has a dyslexia and a dwarfism, right? Or I'm gonna pick up a Spelunker, which has a muscle weakness as a trait, right? But is great at collecting money, because you like money, you know, who doesn't, right? Or you're gonna pick up an assassin, because you're, you know, you're gay. Essentially, right? So he has, the only trait is gay for him, right? Which doesn't actually influence his combat characteristics. The point is, you can select what you're actually going to have, and I'm going to go ahead with a gay person. Let's go! Alright, are you sure you want to begin the adventure? Yes, I do want to begin the new adventure. Alright, so right now what we're seeing is, it's my castle, right? Castle is a persistent kind of thing that carries on between all of your fellas, you know, like who follow you. How do you call the suckers? You know, like your descendants. All of your descendants will share the castle. If you can believe that, it actually started with nothing. Essentially, build it up from ground up, right? And with these years, right, they used it, they built it, and it gives you a whole, you know, array of different bonuses, such as, for example, allows you to have a smith, allows you to have an architect, allows you to have an enchantress, allows you to have a knight, which is an upgrade of knight, which is paladin, right? Also allows you to have barbarians, and then allows you to have barbarian kings, right? And then allows you to have shinobi, and then from shinobi you have... You see where I am going with this, right? So there's a lot of depth to this game, and as you keep playing the game, you will be able to unlock more and more stuff. You will be unlock the stats of your character, such as the armor, such as the health, such as the mana, and etc, etc, the physical damage, the critical chance, critical damage, etc, etc, etc. Unlock new playable classes, unlock different stuff like randomized children, which gives you more freedom when you actually select whomever you want to play, then allows you to have bestiality, like, which even more, like, diversifies what you can choose from when you're starting a new game after you die. So it's really, really exciting. You know, this might look a little bit confusing, but the game actually gives it to you at your own pace as you unlock it. You don't have to like rush or whatever. So it actually came to me at my own pace, and it will do to you as well. So it doesn't matter what kind of player you are, how casual player you are, you can actually get into this quite easily. And then we're gonna go ahead and level up. We're gonna level up. You know, I want some armor. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get some armor. Alright, I got some armor for myself. Now I'm gonna leave the thing by pressing S, right? Here's my character, right? As you can see, the sucker is jumping and running around. This is to the manor, right? Obviously, this is our smith, right? This is also this thing, which you... How do you call it, actually? A dude which you punch, right? Which allows you to see how much damage you're going to deal with your abilities. This is my chakram, for example. For some reason, game looks really slow. We'll have to see. Anyway, alright, so... And then you have the smith. Let's talk to the smith. He sells all kinds of stuff, right? He sells weaponry, helmets, body armors, legs, right? Like, how do you call them? Greaves, and the cloaks, right? You first have to buy them, but once you buy them, they permanently stay with all your characters, and as long as you bought them in the first place, you're going to be able to use them for as long as you'd like on any characters that you would prefer, right? So for example, here, you can take a look at my chests, the one I unlocked a lot. So you have the square chest, which gives you some health, gives you, let me unequip this. It gives you some armor, and it also increases the weight. Weight is an overall capacity at which you can upgrade your stuff, so it's really easy. There's no reason to talk about it in a great extent. Then you have the knight chest, which gives you even more armor, right? Then you have the blood chest, which gives you a lot less armor than the knight chest by 2. Like, actually not a lot less, a little bit less armor, and it reduces your health and weights more, but also gives you 1 vampirism. The vampirism is pretty much a blood lifesteal in this game, right? And the way they the way they made lifesteal, I really enjoy it actually. The way they made lifesteal is for every vampire item you have on yourself, you get 2 additional hit points for every enemy you kill, but at the same time it reduces your maximum hit points, which means that you can sustain yourself between battles, but within every particular battle you cannot take so much punishment. You actually die a lot faster. So there you go, that's the other stuff. This is Enchantress, right? She offers you all kinds of enchantments. Enchantments can include stuff like Sprint Rune, for example, which allows me to dash left and right, or like on the helmet I have like a double jump, right? You can also stack them as many as you want. You can have like up to 5 double jump at the end of the day. It seems that all the runes are actually the same across all items, and you can combine them the way you want. It's actually absolutely amazing. You can get more gold, you can get more lifesteal, you can get lifesteal and mana leech, you can get simply mana leech, you can run faster, you can jump more often, you can retaliate the damage, you can reverse damage onto the enemies. Let's go ahead and buy this one actually, but I'm going to keep this one for now. You can enchant your weaponry, etc, etc, etc. The enchantments are all the same, as I've said. It's just slots for them, right? But the main thing is that they're actually difficult to unlock. Now, the architect is the guy who allows you to revisit the castle in which you died without having it to randomly generate again. That's right, the castle, every time you go into the castle, it randomly generates the place. Right now the dude took all of my gold, but yeah, the point is the castle generates every time you go into it, and every time it's a randomly generated experience built from modular stuff in essence, okay? Well, dude, I don't know, like, it looks really weird for me right now. I hope it's going to be enjoyable to watch. For some reason the game looks slower than it is, but I'm just going to continue and take a look at it how it actually is. So the point is, you run around the castle, okay, and you're trying to find gold in essence. Gold is like gold is the primary resource that you're going to gather, that you're going to collect, which allows you to upgrade your character, unlock all kinds of cool stuff. But at the same time, you're searching for an opportunity to unlock unique stuff, unique items. We're talking about runes, we're talking about runes, new items, etc, etc, etc. Whatever you can scavenge in the castle is absolutely amazing, but the key thing is that you cannot actually leave the castle. Once you enter the castle, you're here until you die, right? Until your character dies. So managing your sustain within the castle with your available tools to actually kill the enemies and not die to them is, you know, is mandatory in order to successfully infiltrate the castle and get the most of it you can. As you can see at the top right, there's a mini-map which shows me where I am at the moment. The modular map keeps building itself. I can open it anytime I want with a tab, and which will allow me to see what I actually am, you know, what's going on, and etc, etc. Absolutely amazing, as it is for the, you know, usability for the user. Really comfortable. I really enjoy it the way it is. And so what you're doing is you're going through all these little rooms, right? You're trying to destroy stuff, collect chests, loot chests, right? Collect the gold coins, and, you know, get as much of it as you can before you die. After you die, what ends up happening is you will be allowed to select another descendant and spend all this money that you've actually earned. So, in other words, what you're doing all this time in the castle is you're getting all kinds of resources and materials, and you just, you know, you're just playing the game. And after you die, you evaluate how much have you achieved, and you try to advance a little bit in terms of statistics, in terms of other stuff. Oh, this one is a really aggressive bastard. Let's go ahead and leave him. Whoa, that's a skeleton! Okay, it's fine. You son of a bitch. That's what I'm saying. See, I'm horrible at this game. A person that is actually good at this game will be able to perform well regardless of the statistics. Because I'm bad, what ends up happening is I end up dying anyway, because no matter how much statistics do I have, I fuck up all the time, and I shouldn't. fuck up, because when you fuck up, the consequences are actually pretty bad. Okay, and here what we have is, it's another territory of the castle, one of the 4 or 5 biomes of the castle. I think it's 4 actually. So this one is a lot more dangerous than the previous one. And as you, obviously, you know, in the classical representation, as you advance between them, you're going to get better loot, better items and stuff, but you have to be really cautious as to what you're doing, because it's very easy to die in here, especially when you're an idiot. Oh god. Okay, we're getting it. Oh shit, you see, that's damage. He can 3-shot me. And I'm dead as shit. Allow me to... Okay, good. You know what? It's good. You know, you've seen it. It's good enough. Let's just leave it, because I'm just going to die in here. That's 100% thing. Also, as I have noted before, if you're just tuning in right now, the game runs for some reason a lot slower when I'm recording it. That is not actually how you play the game. The game is actually visceral as shit. It's very fast. Oftentimes you don't have time to pay attention to what's happening on the screen, because it's so fast, okay? But at the same time, the attacks that you perform and the spells, they feel really cool, because you feel the impact from them. And, you know, the game overall is leaving a very good impression as to how your weapons operate, etc, etc. It's really satisfying to pummel your opponents to dust with your sword. To cut them actually to pieces, right? But they don't really... There's not enough violence in this game. There's only one thing I should notice about the combat system, is that there's not enough violence. Otherwise it's great. It's absolutely great. Really satisfying. Majority of the time you just run around whacking people with your sword, or trying to whack them like this with the attack from above, or using your spells like this, right? Which consume your mana, blah blah blah. So you have to, you know, manage this stuff. And etc, etc. It's actually really easy. While doing that, actually majority of the time you want to dodge as much of enemy attacks as possible, especially of attacks of a guy like this one, because this one's really powerful mob. And as long as you dodge their attacks, you should be able to have a really great time in the castle. But of course you don't know. Oh my god, that's gonna be... Each of these fireballs is enough to fuck me up so bad. Okay, good, we've done in here. That was a misclick. Okay, good. These spikes actually... they respond to my movements, right? As I step on them, they start running after me, which is... They start trying to kill me, which is horrible, of course. I'm trying to dodge it! Okay, I'm trying to kill a painting. Now that I've done that, we can continue talking about the game. As you can see, the basic concept is the same. I'm just running around trying not to fucking die, while gathering as much gold as I can. And, you know, trying not to die, obviously. Okay, like, maybe I'm doing a bad job of not dying, but... You have to give me credit for trying. Okay. That's... Okay, good. Okay, got them all. Okay, you don't actually have to kill the enemies, but they obviously have the drop chances. Like, they drop gold occasionally, and you obviously want gold, because you spend it on upgrades of the character. And for weapon and item unlocks, as long as you have the blueprints, you will be able to construct them. But to do that, you obviously need the money. So, it's always nice to gather as much of it as you can. If you leave the room like that, halfway through clearing it, the gold is going to disappear, but all monsters will reset, so it's absolutely persistent. As you clean the rooms, they're not going to respawn behind your back. Absolutely amazing kind of thing. So you actually can clear out the castle if you're skillful enough, or if your stats are high enough. I think it's actually a combination of both, because I've realized that if I would play at as best I could, I would not need any of these fancy items and upgrades, because all you need to do is just not suck in order to beat the game. You don't actually need any of these upgrades. If you're a good player, if you're an outstanding player, you will be able to beat the game without any upgrades. If you're kind of a crappy player like myself, you can get a lot of assistance by getting all these items, which means, you know, this game, you will eventually beat it if you're bad, but if you're really good, you will beat it a lot faster, or you're going to be able to venture to a lot more dangerous areas without having proper equipment, which is, of course, absolutely amazing for bragging rights and, you know, for your own enjoyment. You can tailor your difficulty yourself. This area is a forest. It's also a little bit more difficult than the common castle, so you get the idea, right? There's about 4 biomes, if I understood correctly. I think there are 4 biomes. I didn't actually... Don't remember, people. And there's also bosses, right? Bosses are absolutely amazing. Bosses are... I think there's one boss in every biome. I've already killed the first boss and I've encountered the second boss. First boss was in the general castle biome. First boss was a gigantic as eye, which was generally an annoying creature, but not too difficult to deal with, actually pretty easy to deal with. And once I killed him, I got a lot of bonus stats and etc, etc, and it advanced me through the storyline, right? And this next boss is this gigantic flying skull, which spits really powerful blasts of energy and also spawns these little suckers, the Furies, right? He spawns a lot of them, so you have to figure out how do you tackle Furies, as at the same time you're trying to deal damage to him. So like boss fights are really exciting, okay? And then again, I'm going to say the following: this is not my type of game, generally speaking. The only game that I've actually played in this genre was on Nintendo DS. It was Castlevania Order of Ecclesia. Also, I've played Castlevania 2, I think, on Nintendo Entertainment System back in the day. But then again, I wasn't ever a good player at it. I barely managed to like advance to the, you know, the end of the first act, I could call it. Alright, it's one of the secret chests, it's faded chests, right? So in order to get the bonus, you actually have to have the spells. In order to kill the cocksuckers over there, I cannot do that. My spell is not gonna reach them, and I do not possess the ability to change my spells, so yeah, it's not for me, unfortunately. Some of the areas you can reach in the castle, you can only reach with specific characters or with specific spells. So combined with the randomization of the layout and the randomization of the character that you're going to be playing with, it makes, you know, a lot of possible outcomes. Because sometimes like, oh cool, like I found a cool place, but I cannot do anything in here because my character just does not allow me to do that. So next time I'm here with another character, with like a mage, I should come here, you know, because it would be great. But only if I actually choose to use my architect to save the layout of the castle. Otherwise the castle will randomly generate once again. I'm not going to be able to access any of these places ever again, because the castle will generate randomly once again, and it's going to be absolutely different experience from the modules, you know. Although the modules are largely modules, they're the same, okay, because the procedural generation happens from modules. I have to say, from all the times I've played this game, and I've played it many times, I've played it over 50 times, I guess, over 50 legit times, so it was like every time at least, you could say at least like 2 minutes, like the worst of my games were like 2 minutes, and the best times were actually like up to 10 minutes, and each time was kind of unique, because the layout was different, the positioning was different, the drops were different, all this stuff was different, and that's why it's really exciting to replay this kind of game again, to replay this kind of levels again, and this kind of modular placement of the areas on the map add a lot to the replayability of the game. That's why it's really exciting to play again and again and unlock all this kind of cool stuff, because every time you venture back into the castle, it actually is different, you know? It's, what the fuck, man, what else can you wish for? This was my only complaint with like Order of Ecclesia on Nintendo DS. I was like, oh my god, I wish this thing was randomly generated. Then I would just give up on the remains of my social life and just sit in the Order of Ecclesia like, well, that's fucking amazing. I guess that concludes my life. I've seen everything. And yeah, and this game actually offers me all that, and it also offers the really cool 8-bit kind of graphics style. It has a definitive style, as you can see, right? It's kind of cutesy, right? And it certainly has its own charm, right? It doesn't look like one of these ugly 8-bit shits. It actually is a full-fleshed graphics in 8-bit, but it's an awesome kind of 8-bit, right? It's not strainful. It doesn't strain my eye. And trust me, I would tell you if it did, because like a lot of stuff does. This one doesn't. It looks absolutely amazing. Now I died because I'm an idiot, and I punched my microphone as well. So what happens when you die? It gives you a small summary of what you have done. This is all the creatures that I have killed in this playthrough. Then he gives you an advice. He says purchasing equipment is cheaper and more flexible than raising your base stats. And it's his final parting words, which he leaves us with. And we press enter, go back to main menu, and you can start the game again by pressing enter and selecting another hair and just starting the game all over. So that concludes my presentation. To sum it up, Rogue Legacy is a roguelike game in which you take control of a knight, which can be of one of the so far I've discovered, what is it, like 5 5 classes. I think it's gonna be a little bit upwards than that. Let's say under 10 classes so far. Of characters which have distinct characteristics, distinct preferences for magic or weapon choices. From weapon choices you obviously have unfortunately only swords from what I've discovered so far, but you have a lot of customization in terms of your castle, which gives you additional stats and attributes. You can also get some runes to customize your character further in order to get yourself bonus jumps or bonus dashes, in order to get yourself a lifesteal or mana leech, and etc, etc, etc. So it's a great and a very, very well executed combination of a RPG, of an action RPG, I should say, with the platformer, right? In the best traditions of the Castlevania, in the best traditions of, I've heard it again and again, even though I never played the game, it's something, what was it called? Orcs and Goblins? No, Goblins and something. Goblins and loot, goblins and meat, goblins and dungeons, dungeons and goblins, dungeons and dragons. No, it's something like that. Anyway, the point is, it's an amazing game. I recommend it to you. You can get it for 15 bucks from Good Old Games, from their official site on the Cellar something games, or on Steam. It's an amazing game to pick up. Don't miss your chance. Support these guys. They absolutely deserve this money. I think it's an amazing purchase. I have actually bought it today on day one. Really, really excited about it. You can also take a look at a demo of the game. It will allow you to realize what you're actually working with, what you're actually about to buy. It's a great, great game. I recommend you to take a look at it. You will not regret it. And that's all. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. If you've enjoyed the video and my commentary, don't forget to put a like on this video and favorite it. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.